What's going on, guys? This is Carl with the Racerred channel. Out here riding the Danskin Mountains. It's a beautiful day out here. It's really not too dusty in a lot of areas. Some areas it is, but I was just thinking about motorcycle setup. I've talked about this quite a bit before, but that's okay. I think that motorcycle setup is important, but I think motorcycles in general are so good nowadays that they outperform the rider by a long shot, and they have since around the year 2000, I would say. Before the year 2000, things were a little rough in the suspension department, engine department, but now I think that it's well worth just keeping your bike stock, unless you want to, but there's no need, is what I'm saying. There's no need to go aftermarket with pretty much anything. Now, if somebody wants to change their suspension or engine characteristics, that's totally fine, especially if you're a pretty experienced rider, like B-class rider or above. I would say you're probably pretty experienced and you're feeling changes in your bike, and you definitely want to make it run right. That's the number one thing. Make your bike run well, and then get your suspension dialed, and you're pretty much good after that. These dust plumes are crazy. I better back it off a little bit. I don't really want my camera covered, my filter sucking that in. So as a new rider, I just would tell people to set their bike up in whatever form it is, and just set it up, and don't mess with it a whole lot until you're a good rider, because you really don't know what the bike needs until you're a good rider, if I'm being honest here. If the suspension feels too hard, a lot of times you're probably sitting down a lot. If the front end feels weird, you're probably sitting down a lot, probably too much. These bikes are not made to sit down hardly ever. There's all kinds of other chassis issues that could be attributed to the rider instead of the bike. One of which would be handlebar positioning. If you're a tall guy and you feel like the handlebars aren't tall enough, you're probably needing to switch up your body positioning instead of raising the bars. I don't know of any pro riders who use bar risers. It messes up the ergonomics of the whole package if you do that. In fact, both of my bikes have bar risers on them now, and I'm going to take those off of my Husky. This bike, I ride it in the desert at high speed, so it's necessary, but the Husky, I'm definitely taking the bar riser off and taking away that steering dampener. That's the only reason I have bar risers, is because I'm running the steering stabilizers, keeping me from dying when I'm going 100 miles an hour over chop in the desert. cool rock. That's a nice boulder. I'm back in the dust plumes. I better back off a little bit. You think you're far enough back, but sometimes if there's not a big wind gust to take this dust out of your way, it really just sits around and waits for you. There are things that you should focus on as a beginner besides that aftermarket stuff. And here's what most new riders neglect. Your air filter. Change your air filter. You should be changing that thing. If you're riding behind people in the dust, maybe every ride. But you should be checking it constantly, making sure you have a fresh, nicely oiled air filter in your bike. That's very important. Another one is change your oil. Make sure you do that probably every other ride. And this is where you should be focusing. It's not as sexy as a new exhaust, I know that, and suspension and all that stuff, but it's definitely helpful in the long run. As I've gotten, a little bit more better, you're not so much like on these kind of trails like this. You're not so much steering with your hands. Yeah. You're actually steering with your body. Oh yeah, yeah. You're like off to the side, and the bike's over here, and like you're just moving back and forth. Anyways, guys, to piggyback off of what I was just saying earlier, and what my buddy Kurt was saying, he's given some great advice, talking about the separation of body and bike, and what has helped him in learning how to ride a lot better is riding mountain bikes. Mountain bike riders are 100% using that experience for dirt biking, and vice versa. But man, mountain biking really helps if you go from that to a dirt bike. And he was just talking about how you learn the bike body separation, where you're not simply turning the handlebars, you are working your body back and forth, and the bike is turning underneath of you, and you're separating it from your body, and you're moving your body around totally separate from the bike, keeping everything centered with your body, and finding that balance. And the cool thing about a mountain bike is that you don't have the throttle to save you if you do get off balance. So, bug went right in my mouth. And so it teaches you better balance as well. So he was talking about how standing up, a lot of people would think that standing up is tiring or whatever, but I think one of his points that he was making is that if you're standing up versus sitting down, the sitting down is going to be way more fatiguing overall on a dirt bike. A dirt bike is just meant for you to stand up on it. And so it feels awkward at first. You feel far away from the machine at first. But it's important for you to practice the technique of standing right away. Just start practicing standing up, making turns, standing up, just doing everything up off the bike. It causes a huge benefit right away, and that is your ability to balance separate from the bike, so you aren't affected by the bike nearly as much. It's also very nice not to get hit in the groin every 2 seconds. So I would say that's a huge benefit. Anyways, guys, I hope this video was helpful. I think Kurt gave a lot of really good advice. And anyways, I think this is one of those videos where if you're a beginner and you watch it all the way through, I really do think that you'll get a lot out of it. Hopefully it adds a lot of value to your ride in general. Anyways, I will catch you on the next video. Peace.
His name is Racerred. If he wasn't riding, he'd be in bed. He naps during the day. He rides his love in garage bays. Oh, he rides all night, full throttle all the time. Oh, he was born to ride. Red Racer, like, comment, and subscribe.